All right, everybody, welcome back. We are diving deep today, and we're tackling a question for the ages.
A big one.
A real big one. A real classic in the tech world.
Yeah.
iPhone versus Android. Which one should you actually go for?
Right.
And we have a really cool chart here from a website called Domov.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this one.
And it's a really good comparison of the two.
Yeah.
So we are going to be talking all about this chart and trying to unpack some of the big questions that it raises for us.
Absolutely.
So, first impressions matter, right?
Yeah.
If you're walking into a phone store, what do you actually see first?
Oh, totally.
See all the iPhones all lined up like little soldiers?
Yeah.
All looking identical, sleek, and minimalist. And then on the other hand, you have this wild world of Androids.
Oh, yeah, you've got like a rainbow of choices over there.
Yeah, exactly. So much variety. It's like a whole different vibe.
Well, and that right there kind of gets at the core difference in philosophies between Apple and Google.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So Apple, they exert this really tight control over both their hardware and their software.
Like a walled garden, sort of?
Exactly. It's a very curated experience. Of course, everything's going to have that unified, streamlined look.
Right.
But the trade-off is that you have very limited customization options.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck with what Apple gives you.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
Whereas on the other hand, you've got Google with Android, and they're all about open source.
Oh, yeah. Much more freewheeling.
Right. They give manufacturers so much freedom, which is why you see such a crazy range of designs out there.
Oh, for sure.
From budget-friendly phones that you can get for like $100,
Yeah.
to these like crazy high-end diamond-encrusted phones that cost more than a car.
Yeah, I saw one that was like covered in like alligator skin or something.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's one out there.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the way they look,
Right.
but what about how they feel to
And
use?
the user experience.
Right, because using an iPhone, it's like stepping into this, exclusive, perfectly manicured, gated community
Oh, I like that.
where everything is predictable and reliable.
Yeah.
Everything just works seamlessly,
Mm-hmm.
but you're kind of playing by Apple's rules.
Yeah, you are definitely in their world.
But then Android is more like stepping out into this like bustling city that never sleeps.
Yeah, constantly evolving.
There's so much energy. You can do pretty much whatever you want.
Right. There's so much more freedom to tinker and customize. You can change your launchers, your widgets. You can really make it your own.
It's like a blank canvas.
Exactly. But with that comes a learning curve, and the experience can vary a lot from one Android device to the next.
Oh, for sure, because you have so many different manufacturers putting their own spin on it.
Yeah, exactly. Which can be good or bad, depending on what you're looking for.
Right, right. Okay, speaking of variety, let's talk about apps,
Oh, the app situation.
because that's a huge factor for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
With iPhone, you've got the App Store,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like this carefully curated gallery of high-quality apps.
Yeah, it's like they have a bouncer at the door, like only the best apps get in. Yeah.
They're very strict about their quality control,
But on the other hand, you have the Google Play Store for Android.
which is like the mega mall of apps.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
It's absolutely massive. There's an app for literally everything you could possibly imagine.
Yeah. But like you were saying earlier, quality can be a little hit or miss.
Yeah, sometimes you got to wade through some junk to find the gems.
Yeah. I was once desperately in need of a specific photo editing app,
Oh, yeah.
and it turned out it was only available on Android.
Oh, no.
And I was just like, come on.
I've been there.
It really made me reconsider my whole phone situation.
Yeah, that app exclusivity can be a real deal breaker.
It really can.
You got to think about like what apps are absolutely essential for you.
For sure, like if you're really into mobile gaming,
Yeah.
some games are only available on one platform or the other.
Mm-hmm. Or if you're super into like a certain social media platform that
Yeah.
maybe doesn't have a great app on one or the other.
Okay, so apps aside.
Yep. Let's be real. Most people just want a phone that's fast.
Yeah.
And doesn't die on them in the middle of the day.
Right.
iPhones have this reputation for being really smooth and reliable.
They do.
But Androids,
It really depends.
it really does depend, right?
Yeah, because with iPhone, Apple designs everything in-house.
Yeah.
So the hardware and software are perfectly in sync.
Yeah, they work really well together.
So you get this really optimized experience.
Just smooth sailing.
Exactly. Whereas Android uses a much wider range of components from different manufacturers.
Right.
So the performance can vary a lot from phone to phone. You can have some Android phones that are super powerful
Yeah.
and can rival even the top-of-the-line iPhones. But then you have some budget Android models that can be a little laggy and slow.
Yeah, I've definitely had some experiences with some laggy Android phones.
We all have.
Um, okay, and then battery life.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
That's probably the number one complaint I hear from people
Makes sense.
about their phones, is that the battery just doesn't last long enough.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
iPhones generally have a good reputation for battery efficiency,
Yeah.
but
And Android is getting better.
they are catching up.
Yeah, they're catching up.
They're making a lot of advancements in battery tech and fast charging these days.
Right. And some Android phones now even have bigger batteries than iPhones.
Oh, wow. So it's getting more competitive.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely a close race these days.
Okay, so let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah.
The
The
price.
dreaded price tag.
Because iPhones are notorious for being expensive.
They are?
They're premium priced.
Yeah.
So is that Apple logo really worth emptying your wallet for?
That is the million-dollar question.
That is the question.
Right.
But what about Android?
Well, Android is a different story.
Yeah.
They have a phone for literally every budget.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
You can get a decent Android phone for like $200.
Yeah.
Or you can spend upwards of $1,000 on a flagship model.
Right. And those top-tier Android phones are often packed with even more powerful specs than iPhones.
Exactly. So you can sometimes get more bang for your buck with Android.
But as you said earlier, you do often get what you pay for. So if you go for a super cheap Android phone,
Yeah,
you might be sacrificing some build quality or performance.
exactly. You got to weigh your priorities.
Okay, so price is definitely a big consideration, but we also can't forget about privacy and security,
Oh, yeah. That's huge these days.
especially with all the data breaches and everything going on.
Right.
iPhones have built a pretty solid reputation for having strong data protection.
Apple really takes privacy seriously.
They do.
They focus heavily on things like on-device processing and encryption.
So all your data stays safe and sound on your phone.
Exactly. It's not being sent off to some server somewhere.
But Android's been trying to catch up in the privacy department.
Yeah, they've been making improvements for sure.
They have.
But because Android is open source, the level of privacy and security can vary a lot from one manufacturer to the next.
That's interesting.
And it also depends on what version of Android you're running.
So you got to do your research.
Yeah, definitely. If privacy is a top priority for you, you got to do your homework.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We've talked about design and build, quality,
Mhm.
software, and the overall user experience.
Right.
Apps,
Yes.
performance, battery life,
Mm-hmm.
price and privacy and security.
We hit all the big ones.
We hit all the big ones, so it's decision time.
Right.
What have we learned?
Well, it seems like if you're someone who wants a phone that just works,
Yeah.
that integrates seamlessly with all your other devices.
Like if you're already in the Apple ecosystem.
Right. If you've got a Mac and an iPad and an Apple Watch,
Yeah.
and you're not afraid to pay a premium for that experience,
Yeah,
then iPhone might be the way to go.
makes sense. But if you're more of a tinkerer,
Yeah.
if you like to customize things,
Mm.
if you want more control over your tech and your budget,
Yeah.
then Android could be a really good option.
It could be the perfect fit.
So at the end of the day, it really comes down to what you value most in your tech experience.
Exactly.
Think about what your priorities are
Mm-hmm.
and go from there.
It's all about finding the phone that fits your lifestyle.
Well said. And that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
The choice is yours.
Exactly.
This deep dive was just to give you the information,
The
the
tool.
tools you need to make an informed decision.
Exactly.
So go forth
Mm-hmm.
and choose wisely.
Choose wisely. Happy phone hunting.
Happy phone hunting, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for having me.
See you next time.
See ya.